Hello again, YouTube. So today we will be doing a review on the device you can see in front of you. Not the clock, but this IOGEAR USB-C docking adapter, which I use on my MacBook. You could see this J5 Create adapter that I have previously reviewed on my channel. What happened is I accidentally plugged the power input into the wrong port, and that basically stopped it from working. And I use this on my MacBook, but my MacBook is still fine, thankfully. But unfortunately, I can no longer use that adapter, and that's not a very good design. Just how you can plug the power input into the wrong port, and it fits just fine. So I decided to get a new adapter entirely, and that is where this device comes in. You can see it is much bigger than the J5 Create adapter. It sits very nicely under my clock, even though I think it is meant to fit under the MacBook. You can see that it has a lot of different ports. It is made out of anodized aluminum entirely, and it is not that much more expensive. It costs about $100 as opposed to $70 for the J5 Create device. You can see how the J5 Create device is supposed to slide up against the MacBook, and opposed to that, this other device, the IOGEAR device, can perfectly just sit under a clock, and that is what I like about it. The device is entirely separate from the MacBook. It just connects with a little white cord, and that means that it is not as portable as the other device is, and it also has to be powered all the time. It is powered by the MacBook adapter. You can see right there the cord. And in addition to that, it also gives you several more ports than the J5 Create adapter or other portable adapters can offer. It offers USB-C ports as well as USB 3.1, Ethernet, HDMI, VGA, mini DisplayPort, quite the variety. Basically every port that was on older MacBooks before they switched to USB-C only. And you also have a headphone jack port as well. You can see the device, it is pretty substantial. It's like a quarter the size of the MacBook. So that is pretty interesting, I guess. And it does feel much nicer than the other device does. You could see that it has little divots on it. That's so the MacBook is supposed to sit on top of it, but for whatever reason my MacBook just doesn't align up with it. Maybe it's not the right size and the holes are just not spaced quite far apart. You can also see that I have my camera and a USB drive plugged into it. I'm recording this with my webcam, and it plugs into that port right there. You also have one more USB port, and that is another USB 3 port, but it has a little Thunderbolt sign next to it, and I think that is for charging phones. It delivers higher amperage than the other ports do. But all the ports seem to deliver enough amperage to power any device, unlike USB hubs typically do, as it is powered. Also, just another thing to stress how much nicer this adapter is in comparison to the other one which I had used. It is a separate device. It's a docking adapter, not a dongle. So it really does offer, I guess, the ability to just unplug your MacBook and turn it into like a desktop mode. It's like a laptop to desktop adapter, and that's pretty much how I use it as. You can also buy like little USB to USB-C adapters that aren't dongles or docking adapters. They're just really small. But typically whenever I'm using my MacBook portably, I don't really connect any USB devices to it at all. Again, it would be much better if the MacBooks just had USB adapters like they used to do. on all the ports, offering fully featured functionality, but I do enjoy the size of the MacBook as it is now. So this IOGEAR adapter, it is specifically the IOGEAR USB-C docking station with PD pass-through. In conclusion, I'd like to say that I would highly recommend this docking adapter in comparison to other docking adapters. It is probably the most expensive one that I saw. It's $100, but if you have a MacBook, that's not even a fraction of the price. And if you don't want to get a docking adapter, I would just suggest not getting a MacBook. I have a MacBook specifically because I like it for video editing and it is portable and just good to carry around. Uh, if you had a PC, of course, it would have more ports, but this docking adapter gives it more ports than most laptops do nowadays, so that's another thing to consider. Also, this device will work with anything that's powered by USB-C. You just have to make sure that you can power the device itself.